Yo, we talking about groceries on FBA. Yo, easy. Yeah. J to the O, the Mayos. Groceries on FBA. What you know about that? Step your game up, suck it.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome. I'm Shawn Mayo, if you don't know me. And today we're here with the Deal Diva, Barbara, and she is an expert at wholesale and auctions and lots of other stuff. But today we're going to be talking about wholesale. I get tons of questions all the time from both our mastermind members and all of our followers and clients, about getting into wholesale. And most people that follow me mostly would have started in Amazon on doing probably retail arbitrage or online arbitrage, sourcing in stores, yard sales, flea markets, selling stuff out of your house. But wholesale is a great option. Now, albeit it's an option that you may not make as good of a return on your investment a lot of times, but you can exchange that return for time. And while you do get a lower ROI overall, it's something that you can take. You can get, some of these suppliers have tens of thousands of products, and you can use software that's been created for Amazon sellers now, and narrow that down to hundreds or just a handful of products that are going to be worth selling, and it's going to take very little time. You can use prep centers, you can do it yourself, and even if you're doing it yourself, you don't have to go buy it, you don't have to order online and open 100 individual boxes. They're going to come to you in cases or on pallets that you can't even get delivered to your house, or you can just send those items to a prep center and have very little work to do. So all you're doing is getting the products, putting a label on it, and sending it on. And like I said, if you use a prep center, it's going to be even less work than that. So you do exchange some of your profits for for time, but if you're making more money than you know what to do with, or you have a full-time job like many of you do, you won't have as much get those products in, especially when you're maybe at a busy time where you don't have time to deal with it. You can still buy these wholesale products and send them to Amazon and keep your business going. Barbara?
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about how I got started. That because I'm fairly new to Amazon FBA, but I'm not new to selling online, and I'm definitely not new to buying things wholesale and liquidation. So I've been selling on Amazon for about a year now, and prior to that, I sell locally. I have a couple of different businesses. I sell bed sheets. Posh Linens is my company, and I added Amazon last year as a sales channel in order to build out the brand and that company to sell. Well, I've been sourcing wholesale and through auctions and liquidation and truckloads of store returns, etc., for about 6 years now. So Amazon, I kind of came at it from a different way, from sort of backwards. A lot of people come into Amazon starting with RA, moving into OA, then wholesale and private label. That's kind of the iteration of scaling and growth with the Amazon FBA business. And I came at it from the completely different avenue. So I brought with me some knowledge that people who started the traditional way in FBA didn't have, but then I had to kind of relearn some stuff and learn how to source the Amazon way in order to understand Amazon's business model. So I have a little bit of a different perspective, and a lot of the things that Shawn just mentioned, I have a little bit of an outline here that I think will help you. What I'd love to know is, everybody on this webinar now, what is from a level from 1 to 5, what have you sourced, 1 being never sourced wholesale, and 5 being you're an expert, you've been doing it for a while. What is your level of knowledge of sourcing wholesale? 1 meaning no clue whatsoever, never done it. 5, you're an expert, somewhere in there. So I see a lot of 1s and 2s. It's great, awesome. 4s, 1, 2. Okay, so I think and thanks for sharing that, guys, because that's going to help me determine what to share with you on this webinar. And then Shawn does a ton of videos and a ton of training for, the next level of training. And I see some 5s and 4s and 3s, so we got a really good mix, but I don't want to lose the people who have never done wholesale before. So, Shawn, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to kind of touch on the fears that keep people from starting in wholesale, and then we can get into some meat of how to do it. But maybe that'll help the ones on this chat here kind of jump in a little bit. Is that okay with you? I'll start with
of course.
Awesome. So first, one of the reasons that I think wholesale is even more important, sourcing other ways besides RNOA right now, are all of these new brand restrictions. And it's not to say that it's not going to affect you sourcing wholesale, but it's kind of a wake-up call, I think. It should be a wake-up call for you to really secure your sourcing channels. And I treat this as a business. This is what I do full-time. It's not a hobby for me. And yeah, it's fun to go to stores and scan, and that's great, but my time is so limited. I want to make sure that I am leveraging all of my resources in the best way possible for the maximum amount of return. That makes sense? It's just an equation. It's all about the numbers. So running around from store to store, RA, and then potential new restrictions on the stuff that you buy, then you've got to, I don't know, return it, find another way to sell it on eBay. I think that wholesale sourcing is just a much more efficient way to do it. And so some of the fears are that this is what I've heard people say in my group, and if you go to Facebook and look up Deal Diva Barbara, you can join my group, facebook.com/group/Deal Diva. And here's some of the things people post there, as sometimes they use it as an excuse not to get started. So hopefully I can address some of these concerns so you at least try wholesale. I mean, you could get started right away. You could literally place a wholesale shipment by tomorrow if you truly, decided to do it. So some of the fears are there are big capital requirements. Not true. I place test orders with most of my wholesalers. In fact, it was funny, my phone rang right before we started. It was one of my suppliers in Pennsylvania telling me they'd put my pallet together and giving me a shipping quote, because I always ask for a shipping quote before they send it to me. But I could get, I just ordered some jewelry from a new supplier, one case, small case, not a big box, because jewelry's not that big. As a test order, I think I didn't get more than a dozen of each item to test it out. And I negotiated their wholesale pricing. There are usually different tiers. There's like tier 1, 2, 3. I negotiated their best pricing because they anticipate that they'll have me as a larger buyer if I like what happens with the first shipment. So one fear is I don't have enough money to do wholesale. And I disagree. All you have to do is ask. Big word, ask. Talk to your suppliers. And when they say, oh, our MOQ is $5,000, just say, look, I'm thinking about placing a test order. We'd like to try your products out. We're not going to do a $5,000 with a new supplier. This is how we work with all new suppliers. So you set the tone and you lead the conversation with the new supplier. And then you say, we'd like to place a test order. Maybe it's going to be like $200. And what's the best pricing you can do? So that's one fear. Another fear is minimum order quantities. We kind of just touched on that, same as capital requirements. They might say their MOQ is, $5,000 or 300 pieces of each SKU. I always just ask, and I can't say, I don't remember anybody ever turning me down for my request for a test order. Okay, so receiving pallets. I just had a pallet show up yesterday, and he wheeled it off the truck. He had a lift gate, put it in my garage. I also have a 20-foot container next to the house I just bought about a month and a half ago to kind of expand my working space and my prep space for Q4, but you don't need any of that. You don't need any of that. You can just get a storage unit, and I've got a minivan with the seats torn out. I've got a little trailer I picked up for $1,000. Worst comes to worst, I could have rented a $19.95 for an hour and a half flatbed truck from just a bigger pickup truck from Home Depot and gone to the receiving place, broken down the pallet, put it on that truck. I could get budget trucks I can get for $16.99 a day plus mileage. So there's all sorts of ways that you can handle receiving a pallet or a half a pallet. and stick it in a storage unit. And a lot of storage units have first month for $1. There's several of them around my house, first month for $1. So you could use, for $1, you could have a storage unit and use that space for 30 days to break down that pallet, take an inventory, process the stuff, and get it into Amazon. Another fear I hear is processing power. Oh my gosh, I can't process it all alone. Well, the pallet I got yesterday only had 4 SKUs on it. So processing it's not going to be a big deal. There are some coffee mugs on there that I needed to buy some boxes for. I just went to Uline and bought some boxes and bubble wrap. I hired my neighbor. If you don't use a prep center, there are ways to do it, but I highly recommend doing a prep center if you can. I hired my neighbor for 35 cents a unit to bundle and prep things for me. So once those boxes come in, I'll just hand them over the fence to her. So you never know what your resources are until you kind of people ask what you're doing when they see the pallet show up. And a lot of people are looking for extra money for Christmas. Now, if you use a prep center, here's the reason I didn't use a prep center for that particular pallet. I sell locally. I have different sales channels. I like spreading my risk over different sales channels, and I sell locally on Facebook, Craigslist. I do some eBay. So I keep about 20% of my inventory back when it comes in, if it's product I know I can sell locally. So I had this particular pallet come to me because I know these items on there, they're emoji related items. I can sell some of those locally. Another fear I have, yes.
Hey, you know, a big question a lot of people have that goes along with this is the lead time, because doing retail or online arbitrage, you can you know, you can buy something at a store and have it sent to Amazon, and you know, 3 or 4 days it might be live. But with wholesale, you know, there's a lot of questions. You have to review the stuff, then you have to get it shipped to you, and then you have to ship it, or even if you're using a prep center. So how much time does it usually take from the time, let's say, you place an order until it could be live on Amazon?
Okay, it depends how I choose to have that order processed. So I have several suppliers, and for the first order, I won't do this. I want to have a relationship with my supplier first. I have several suppliers. I just place an order, and I send them the box labels. They put them on the label. I create a shipment in Amazon from their address, and I do a inventory place. No, if it's one SKU, I do a box carton. What is it called, Shawn? I just did one this morning.
I'm not sure what you.
One SKU in one box content, something like that. Anyway.
But you don't need the box contents then, right?
No, I don't need the box contents. And Amazon labels for 20 cents each. Amazon will put my FN SKU on it, and I have it shipped directly from my supplier on Amazon. So, for instance, I had some comforter sets from one of my suppliers. Remember, I own a bedding company. And I wanted them in Amazon fast. They had just hit New York, where they came into the port in New York, and I had ordered them about 6-8 weeks ago, pre-ordered them because they were waiting for the container to show up. The container showed up. Within about 3 days, they had them, several boxes of them with the labels on. They sent to Amazon on Monday. They were in my inventory on Friday. So it depends how you want to process it. Like I said, I have regular orders from many of my suppliers that they will just, all I have to do is create the shipment in my Seller Central, and send them the labels in PDF format. They slap it on the box, and it goes to Amazon for me.
Right, but most of the time that's not what's going on. So let's say
no, because I want to see what I'm buying initially. Before I send it in Amazon, but once I have a relationship with a supplier and I know that product is going to sell, and by experience, I see that the product is sold and I know how many it's going to sell a month, then I can just place the order with the supplier and it sends it off. I don't do that with all suppliers. So the worst case scenario, let's see, the worst I had was a supplier go out of stock. I ordered, what are we in October? I ordered beginning of August, and their stock's not coming in until beginning of November. That's the worst case scenario. But I'd say if I were having it go to a prep company or me, it would be maybe generally 2-3 weeks. Does that answer your question?
Right. Okay. So,
okay, so
you know, it's not, you know, a ton of, we're not talking about a ton of time here, you know, buying at wholesale. You know, there are a lot of things, especially if you're buying toys or, you know, things that aren't, that may be in high demand, they're going to be taking pre-orders on. So a lot of times you're going to have to pay part of that. And if you cancel, you know, they still charge you a fee, even if they don't have the products yet. So, you know, not a pre-order. You're not going to be out your money until, you know, they're ready to ship. So
yeah, absolutely. When I place an order, they here's how well, first of all, I ordered a pallet of Pokemon toys. I had 4 SKUs, and they showed up pretty darn fast because it depends where they come from. That pallet came from California, so order placed to my slash warehouse garage container, my personal prep center, was about 10 days total, 10 days to get it, and I don't even think it was that long. And that's because I dragged my feet doing a little bit extra research. So from when they sent me the email announcing they had the toys, it had just hit the port, I don't even think it was 10 days to get to me. I'm in Arizona, and it came from California.
Right. So, you know, as far as shipping, you have to think that, you know, a lot of times, if you're especially if you're dealing with a smaller wholesale company, you're going to get the items to Amazon faster than even ordering from somewhere like Walmart, because those places are going to take, you know, a few days to process things. But routinely, if we're buying wholesale, you know, they're going to get that stuff together and get it ready to ship within a day. And a truck picks it up, and oftentimes it's going to come directly to you. It may go to a hub and, you know, switch trucks once or so, but that's really all that's going to happen.
Yeah, and even when it switches trucks, that happened to me yesterday with my shipper. It arrived in Phoenix Wednesday afternoon at 4:45. I know because I called them, and they at like 3:30, and they said it was coming at 4:45. The next morning, yesterday morning, you can see on the Deal Diva Facebook group, it showed up. Whatever the timestamp on that post was, that's when it showed up. It was probably about 10 o'clock in the morning from the local hub to my house. So they want that stuff out of the warehouse pretty darn fast, the shippers. So it happens pretty fast, I think. The same process has to happen if you do OA, right? You order something, you order 100 units from Walmart, it still has to be trucked to you. And then it has to be, you know, transferred to the UPS truck locally. And I mean, it's still kind of the same process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
If you can use a prep centers, from what I understand, they turn things around within 24 to 48 hours from when they get it.
Yeah, prep centers are very fast, and you know, it doesn't really apply to wholesale, but you know, if you're buying online, prep centers may be saving you money because you don't have to worry about the taxes, and a lot of people don't. You know, a lot of those companies don't accept sales tax certificates, but the location is what makes the prep centers so much better, especially because you're going to be paying the actual shipping to put it on a truck, you know, if it's big enough, or UPS costs. So, you know, if you have something from, we use multiple prep centers. So, you know, I've got my own warehouse in Chicago, and I'm in Florida, and we do, you know, we do work here as well, and we also use prep centers. So we use Prime Zero Prep, which is in a tax-free state, and it's, you know, it's all the way in the Northeast. And we use Texas Pack and Ship, Tony Patty, that's in Texas. So if, you know, something's coming from there, we're going to send it there. If it's coming from, you know, New York or the port of New Jersey, then we're not going to send it all the way to Florida or Chicago. You know, you can save thousands of dollars in, you know, in a shipment just by using a prep center as opposed to shipping it to your own location. So there's a lot of great things, and they're going to get the stuff ready and out the door faster than you are.
That's true.
That's just how it is.
True. I've been traveling a lot recently, going to conferences, and I have a couple of different businesses. So getting things out the door for me, if it comes here, is you know, I'm a bit of a bottleneck, unfortunately. I'm working on that. I just wanted to back up a bit. I see some of the questions here. So it's all about the numbers. People are saying, oh, but the prep center is going to cost me X amount per unit. And okay, so I want you guys all to like pull out a piece of paper next time you're doing RA, OA, and I want you to track how long it takes you from when you find an item, let's say for RA, when you leave the house, go to a store, scan it, fill a cart, come back, take off the stickers, prep it, pack it, time that, and also list all of your expenses for doing that. And I mean, like, really down to the penny of how much gas did you use, how many miles did you put on your van or your truck or whatever, and what that's going to decrease the value of your vehicle over the course of a year if you multiply it out. Like, really dig into the numbers. And same with OA. How much time did it take you to research the items, to find the items, how long did it take to get to you? And then just evaluate all of your sourcing channels based on the numbers, period. And make your decisions based on the numbers. Does that make sense? I know it's kind of cold, but it really is about, your time is worth a lot of money. I like doing RA. I sell furniture. I used to sell furniture. I'm sorry. I've let that go this past summer. I used to go to a lot of auctions, and I did really well. And I had to evaluate what the best use of my time was. So I was spending a lot of time running around, a lot. And the numbers just didn't make as much sense as doing wholesale, for example. So just look at your numbers.
And to add to that, you really need to look at your turnover time when you're looking at those numbers too, because you have to think from the time you put the money out until you get it back from Amazon, almost all of you are only getting paid once every 2 weeks. So you have to think about how long that stuff is sitting on your floor. And we're not trying to push prep centers, in this webinar, but you need to look at, it costing you $1 an item for them to prep it. How much time and money is it costing you? And, the time is just so important. You don't get time back. So, you may have a prep center. You could drop off stuff you're doing RA, or, you could send it to them, cheaply. And if you're working a regular job, like I know most of you have, I talk to a ton of you guys, and, if you have a real job, if you spend hours after you go to work going to do RA, then it comes home and it sits on your floor, and then what happens to it? How long does it take? How many days are you losing from the time you buy it until you can actually put it in a box and ship it? And if your whole house is full of stuff from RA, then you're really losing. And I'm not telling anybody not to do RA, but you need to look at your because we still make the majority of our money doing that, and we sell tens of thousands of items every year that that come from retail stores that we bought ourselves. But we have a system in place to get that stuff moving. So if you're doing OA, look at prep centers, look at other ideas, look at local people who can help you. Because the few dollars an hour, I mean, even if you're paying somebody $10 or $15 an hour, look at your big picture, because you're going to make that and more back every week that you have somebody else doing that for you. Until it's worthwhile to do it yourself. And I think, you there, Barbara? Looks like you're freezing up. And you got a lot
Yeah, no, I'm here. People are saying that my mic is picking up background noise and cutting you off, so I just muted it while you were talking. So let me jump into the next topic. Liquidation versus wholesale. So many of you probably already know that, and Shawn is my, you want to go to, Shawn, what's your website? The new one that you just put up.
Yeah, we mentioned it beforehand. You got it in an email. We'll send it to you again. But wholesale.shawnmayo.com. We put together a little course with some videos we made in the past. Barbara has a guide that you can download there for free. We have our own, we've put together some templates and a little walkthrough into getting started to wholesale, and as well as a script that we put together for cold calling wholesalers to get your account set up. So every step of the way that you need to go, you're going to find all that information there.
So go over to www.wholesale.shawnmayo.com.
No www, just wholesale.
I'm sorry, wholesale.shawnmayo.com.
Right.
And scroll down to the bottom, and you see that you can download. Somebody just asked here, what's the simplest way to get started with wholesaling? Download the e-seller guide I put together. It's going to tell you right from the beginning every single state's website of where you need to go to get a resale license so that when you approach a wholesaler, you can prove to them that you're not an end user trying to buy their product, that you are a business. It'll give you a kind of a basic email script that I reach out to when I first reach out to a supplier, letting them know who I am and what I'd like to do, and just kind of it's only like 4 or 5 pages. It's real simple, step by step, just to get started. Oh, there we go, the reseller guide. Oh, that's pretty cool. How'd that happen? All right. So that'll get you started. And once you read through that, it's just a few pages, guys. Okay, read through it. Do what you need to do. It shouldn't take you too long to get through it. Maybe just a day of implementing what you see. There we go. Apply for your EIN, setting up your business. Go back to the table of contents, Shawn. There we go. A little bit more. Boom. There we go. You know, how to apply for an EIN, all the state links, social media presence for your business. Get a website, which is real simple. And that, you know, I talk about that as like a page of how to get it done, how to make first contact. And Shawn has done, his script is up on that website as well, of how he approaches wholesalers. So create your own script. Don't just copy and paste, but make it, you know, make it yours. And then what to do after approval. So, yeah, also on that site, go a little bit further on that site, and you'll see that I produce directories of, if you just want to go to the website, Shawn, that'd be cool. Take a look at it. Yeah, I produce wholesale directories, which are suppliers. A lot of them are vetted for Amazon sellers, because somebody asked, what do you do if, you know, if a supplier doesn't sell to Amazon sellers? Well, there are plenty more out there, okay? And we create directories for different niches. So from groceries to toys and shoes, there we go. We just did the dollar store suppliers. I love that directory, the Bundles Bonanza. And I buy from a lot of these suppliers, especially the Bundles Bonanza and the dollar store suppliers. And I put together bundles. You know, we'll put together like a Pokemon pillow with a blanket, etc. The tea, herbs, and spices, we just did that one as well. A lot of coffee and tea stuff. That's a huge market, coffee and tea. And they're pretty reasonably priced. So, you know, when you're ready to start looking for suppliers, you can pick up one of they're pretty reasonably priced, pick up one of our directories and just get started contacting them. How to evaluate? Okay, so you contact them. They say, yes, we'd love you to buy from us. And they say, you ask them for an Excel file or a CSV file. Sometimes they only have a PDF file of information on their products. You want a UPC code, the name of their product, maybe even a picture of the product if they've got it, and then you're going to use some tools that are available on through the FBA community. Shawn, what tools do you use to evaluate suppliers' product?
Right, so we have a ton of tools that we use, but if you're already using tactical arbitrage, if you're already using things like OA/X-ray, then there's tools built in. You can upload a spreadsheet, and I've made a bunch of videos on using tactical arbitrage and on OA/X-ray. So, you know, I'm not going to go through and show you how to do it, but you can basically upload a list of UPCs, and it's going to compare that to Amazon, show you what the ROI is, show you what the profit is, and you basically just need the UPC and the cost, which is what you're going to be supplied by those companies. You know, very few of them are not going to have something available. You know, they all want you to know what they have. So, you know, a spreadsheet is how they're going to keep track of everything. So they're just going to send you a copy of that. You'll have a list of everything. You know, you just tell them you need to compare it to your database or whatever it is. You upload it, and then you sort it by your ROI, whatever you need to keep under, cut everything else out, you know, look at those products, you know, see what your prep time is, you know, if you have to make a multi-pack or whatever you're going to have to do, you know, if they're glass, like Barbara just had to get boxes. You may have to bubble wrap it. Everything has to, be able to handle that 4-foot drop test. So, there's a lot of tools out there. If you're not already using those, of course, I recommend everybody use Tactical Arbitrage. But if you're not, then there's a lot of other software out there. One that's free is ScanPower. You can open a free account with ScanPower, and they have a free tool that you can upload the spreadsheet. You just download the template, copy the data into there. There is a limit on what's free, but it's like a pay-as-you-go. So I'm not sure what the limit is on those. I think it's maybe 200 items. And you can upload, you can split it into 100 of those if you want and do it for free, or they charge you a couple dollars, to get bigger. And I think they can do up to a 25,000 item file. So, and you just pay a one-time fee, even if it costs you $10 or something, you now have a whole list of everything there. And of course, if you're going to be contacting a lot of wholesalers, then of course, get something like Tactical Arbitrage. Again, even if you were just doing it for that, you're still going to save a lot of money, because all the other softwares have limits. You can only, they're going to charge you by the items you scan, or they give you a total amount per month. But Tactical Arbitrage and OA X-Ray, you can run them through their unlimited. You can do millions of them every month, just for the fee that you're already paying to do online and retail and everything else.
Hey, Shawn, did Tactical Arbitrage open up? I know that they limited the number of users. Have they opened it up to new users?
Yes.
Awesome. And how do they get, is that also on ShawnMayo.com?
Yeah, if you go to ta.shawnmayo.com, we do have a big bonus program going. I would assume everybody that follows me knows about it, but ta.shawnmayo.com, you can sign up there. It costs $100 a month for Tactical Arbitrage, but in my view, I mean, just for the wholesale stuff, it's worth it. We were using multiple different services for looking at lists, and I know the one from CyberMonkey Deals, we were paying $50 a month, and it was limited. I think we could only do like 60,000 items a month. So,
yeah, and some people, I kind of saw I sort of saw some people cringe at the $100 a month. But again, let's just look at the numbers here. So I just became a user of Tactical Arbitrage a few weeks ago, and I sat down with Shawn's videos, because he's got a ton of videos talking about how to set it up, how to use it. So I plugged in my iPad to my big screen TV, and I sat on the couch with 2 computers, and I let his videos play one after the other, and I just followed his instructions. So here are the numbers. Tactical Arbitrage does not just evaluate an Excel or a CSV file from a supplier. It does a whole bunch of other stuff. So I can go on there and do OA. I can find profitable products that are from Walmart and Target, and a ton of different other stores are on there. And then I can also, then the third thing I can do is I can go and find ASINs that are profitable on Amazon using different tools, and then take that ASIN list and plunk it into Tactical Arbitrage, and it tells me what stores to buy those items from. So it does 3 things for $100. Now, I can't use that tool to make $100 with any of those 3 tools, then I am really doing something wrong, especially coupled with Shawn's training.
Right. And something we haven't even talked about with Tactical Arbitrage that you can do is, if you set up these accounts with these companies, you get their list of UPCs. You can upload that into Tactical Arbitrage into the reverse search, and you can look, it's going to look at over 300 different stores for every one of those UPCs, and it's going to find you places to buy those items online. And I mean, it could be cheaper than the wholesale. You really don't know. Excuse me, you're not going to know until you run something like that. So you may not even need to buy from these places, or you might find that nobody else has a better price. But you're not going to know until you do that. And there is a 10-day free trial. So if you sign up with Tactical Arbitrage, use Shawn Mayo for the code. And Valerie put that in there, Shawn Mayo, all one word, and it will. It gives you a 10-day free trial. So, you know, you try it out. If you don't like it, cancel it, and you never paid anything. And right, if you're still trying to learn tactical arbitrage, create a free account, completely free on my website, ShawnMayo.com. And we have a whole course. If you go under Mastermind Basic, there's a whole course with dozens of videos showing you how to use tactical arbitrage. You know, there's probably nobody that's run tactical arbitrage more than I have. I've been using it 24 hours a day since the first day it was available. You know, and I've helped a ton of people. I'm very active on their website. I create a lot of third-party products for tactical arbitrage. You know, I help the guys at Tactical Arbitrage with a lot of stuff. So go there, get that. And if you don't understand Keepa, I have a free course on there on Keepa with a bunch of videos that you're going to need if you're using tactical arbitrage as well. And, you know, there's just so much good stuff on there, and it's all free.
Okay, so there are some other things I've run into. Somebody asked earlier in this chat, what do you do if a supplier says they're no longer selling to Amazon sellers? There's so many suppliers out there. Here's the supplier that I like. I like a supplier, and I run into this regularly, I'm thinking of one in particular that this happened. In fact, I think that's the supplier that called me right before this webinar started. All they have is a PDF file. They're so low tech, and they move so much product that they don't have time to create an Excel file and update it, and so they send me a PDF. And instead of asking them to create an Excel file with a UPC and the title and my costs and everything I need, I let them send me the PDF, and then I send it to a VA to make that PDF into an Excel file. And here's why. Because a lot of my competition will stop when that supplier says, oh, we don't have an Excel file. My potential competition, you guys maybe, will go away because you don't want to do the work to help that supplier give you the information that you need, right? So if there's a little bit of a barrier to working with a new supplier because they're old school, they've been around for 100 years, and they're used to selling to retail stores and outlets, and this whole Amazon and online thing is a new thing for them. They don't know what a CSV file is. That's okay. There's another way. I have another supplier. It's a betting company that I've used for several years now. They couldn't even figure out how to dump their database, everything they have online, into a CSV for me. So I outsourced it on Upwork. I think it cost me like 20 bucks to scrape their entire website because their UPC was on the website, and they said I could do it. I told them I was going to do it. I scraped their entire website and pulled out the UPC. We had to enter my cost into the Excel file, but then we could take that Excel file and find out what was selling on Amazon and place our order based on that. So just because there's a stumbling block when initially working with a new supplier that's not used to working with Amazon sellers or online sellers, that's a good thing. Don't let that stop you, because it lets 90% of your competition, that stumbling block stops them. So you be that 10% and really work hard to find out how to work with your supplier, with a new supplier. Does that help? Does that answer that question?
Yeah, and there's there's free software out there that will help you convert PDFs to Excel, but they're not perfect. So we always say, oops. We always suggest you probably should get a VA to help you with all these small problems, all these, converting files and all that. Find an assistant. You're gonna pay $3, $4, $5 an hour, and if you need help, finding one, we use FreeUp, and I can give you a lot more information on that if you just send me a PM. And they have people who are already trained to do a lot of the stuff that you're gonna need for your business.
Yeah, and the way to get started is, my directories are really inexpensive to get started. You get up to, 65 leads for 20 or 30 bucks. Go start with one of those. Go download a directory in a category that you want to explore. And here's what happens. Let's say you just convert one of those suppliers or one of those companies to a supplier for you. But in your research of researching their catalog, you find a whole bunch of other cool products just by doing some sourcing off of that and going down some rabbit holes, that then you can reverse engineer and find the supplier for those. So any directories or lists you buy, use those as starting points to find more products, more profitable products. They're not the be-all and end-all. Don't rely on anybody's list to, run your business off of. Use those as launching pads for ideas and research, as well as making money on the information in the directories and lists. Does that make sense, Shawn?
Definitely, and I would suggest whatever you're selling now, whatever you like to sell, continue to do that. We've used quite a few of these lists, and she doesn't sell these forever. So the lists that we talked about last year aren't for sale anymore. But the T1 was great. The dollar store one just came out. I haven't even looked at that one yet. But there's a ton of good ones. If you like selling baby stuff, continue to sell baby stuff, and grow your business into a niche that you like, or toys, or whatever it is. If you like selling holiday products, get the holiday list and find some good wholesalers to continue your business along whatever path you like. If you're selling in grocery, don't jump over, to the baby list. Continue to sell what you like, and this is going to give you a good head start. You don't have to go and find those products. There's going to be a list of what's in their emails, phone numbers, their addresses, the kind of products they sell, and all that information is there, right there for you. All you have to do is send them. Usually all you need is your reseller, your resale permit or tax ID. They call it different things in different states, but your sales tax permit that you have, you just need to send that with the template email that we're already giving you, and tell them you want to set up an account. You don't have to go through your background. You don't have to say, I'm a brand new Amazon seller that's trying to do this and this and this. All you need to do is tell them you need to set up an account, and you need to get their information and on everything they have available, so you can open up an account. If they ask you if you're selling on Amazon, sure, we tell them, but we don't need to tell them all of this information going in. All they need to know is that you want an account and that you're giving them your information, and you go from there. I think a lot of people get hung up on, giving them all the extra stuff. And
it's just like,
it's simple.
I liken it to dating, right? So you're not going to go to a place where you're hanging out and you see an attractive person and you walk up and say, "Hi, my name is XYZ. Will you marry me?" Right? It's about relationship building. These are people on the other end of the phone. Yeah, they work for the company, they work for the supplier, but they're people. And if you just talk to them and you find out what their issues are and what problems they're trying to solve. Liquidation. I do well with liquidation. I've got a supplier in California, LA, who brings stuff in from, he doesn't even sell to retailers. He only sells to distributors. So I was referred to him by a supplier that I met at ASD that I bought some jewelry off of. He was a buddy of his. They go to China together. He hooked me up with him. A conversation happens. He says, "Barbara, here's the manifest of the container we've got coming in. If you want to buy direct from me, I'll sell to you." But he doesn't sell to retailers. So a lot of it is about just talking to them and relationship and, hey, what are you trying to solve and how can I help you? And here's what I'm doing and how can we make it a win-win? So just talk to them, and do it in a business manner and do it in a professional manner, but you don't have to be afraid of them. They're just people trying to do their job. And it doesn't hurt to ask too, like for better pricing. But I do it with a smile on my face. I have this one supplier, the Pokemon stuff, and I'll always ask. He knows, he expects it. I'll say, "That's not the best you can do, is it? Come on, you can do a quarter off that. I know you can do 50%." And you nudge him down a little bit, and you do it with a smile, and there's no hard feelings, or they don't feel ripped off. And he knows I'm probably going to end up ordering more because I got the price that I wanted. And I can make money on it, and he can move it quickly. So just build relationships and get started. That's it. Just contact one supplier. Try it out. Just get started today, like today, unless you're in Florida and you don't have any power and you have an excuse. Otherwise, just, you know, pull the trigger and find some product from a supplier and place your first order and just make it happen. Any questions?
Yeah, there's a bunch of questions to go back on. So whenever you guys are starting to address questions, let me know and we can go back.
Yeah, I've been kind of looking at some of the questions, and the ones that are not related to wholesale, we're going to hold off on answering, like how to find a VA and train them. That's a whole other webinar, and if I know Shawn, he's probably got YouTube videos on it. So go to Shawn's YouTube channel and see what you can dig up.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I actually have a link for a company that does all that for us now. So
Yeah.
there's no worrying about, you know, going to Upwork and hiring VAs and all that stuff. They already have trained ones. So do we have any other questions that actually, you know, go with what we're talking about, Valerie?
Yeah, there's a bunch up here. I was actually just getting the YouTube link. So 1 second. If you there was a brief one regarding Barbara when you mentioned that you sell locally. I think that
You were asking me whether or not I have people come to my house.
yeah, and I think that it was best like answered already, but I don't know if you want to just touch on it one more time.
Yeah, what I choose to do and what you do are two different things. There are lots of ways to sell locally. You could have a yard sale, but if you have a yard sale, do it like a business. Do lead generation on it. You can create signs that don't just put yard sale. My yard sale signs say bedding and knives, because I know that whether there's male or female in that car, one or the other of them is going to want to turn the car because it's got bedding for the women and knives for the men. And this time of year, I'll put toys on the car because people are on these signs. So don't just put up a yard sale sign. When you set out your yard sale, do it so that you're leading people. So I've got the jewelry and the knives in the back, the men's stuff on the right, the women's stuff on the left. So I lead them down the aisles to increase my conversion. It's just like selling online, only you're selling physical. In terms of selling on locally, Craigslist and OfferUp, so you can meet them at the fire station, the police station. There's a local Albertsons right up the street from me. I meet them, you know, at the McDonald's there where there's lighting and security cameras. So there's all sorts of ways you can do it. It's up to you to decide how to. Now I have regular buyers. I have a local Facebook group that I own called Barbara's Funky Treasure, and it's about 1,400 people now, and they've all bought from me before. You can only get in the group if you've bought from me. So I have repeat buyers. I will let come to my house, and when they do, I open up the garage, which is set up like a store, and I can. It's all about the numbers. I can convert buyers who come to my house. I can cross-sell them. I'm at about a 70–80% conversion rate. So if they come and buy one thing from me, 70 or 80% of them will buy a second item. So there's all sorts of ways you can do it. Depends what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I think that was good. We had a couple just on getting started with wholesaling, but I think that we kind of covered that. If anybody has further questions, feel free to private message me and I'll get it to either Barbara or Shawn, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, we can probably on Shawn's group, whatever group you want to, or my Deal Diva group, whatever, we can start a replay link. And then you can post your questions there, and we can answer them for everybody to see. And that way everybody gets the benefit of our responses to your questions.
And what's the lowest ROI you'll look at for yourself as far as wholesale?
I look at the amount of net profit I'll make, not a percentage. Because let's say, you know, I can buy an item for $1 and sell it for $3. I would rather buy an item for $20 and sell it for $40, because my net profit is higher. My ROI might not be as high, but my net profit is higher. And I know that's not how, but like I said, I didn't come into this Amazon business as from the perspective of learning everything from the ground up. I came from a different perspective. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it works for me.
Awesome. Loretta and I know John, I know there were a few people asking some tax questions. I don't know. I think right now we're kind of running out of time. So if you guys want to PM me or, send us a message, post it in the group, and we'll get those questions.
Put the link to the group up there. What group do you want to, we'll start a thread in the group so you know exactly where to go to ask your questions as you think of them. And we'll put the replay link up there, and then you can ask your questions in that thread. What group do you want to send them to, Shawn?
Yeah, just a second. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll post the link into the chat.
Awesome. So guys, go to the group. We're going to just post saying, hey, great webinar today. Do you have any questions about sourcing wholesale? And then ask your questions there so that we can, both Shawn and I can chime in. And that way the question is public and everybody sees the answer, and it might help other people too. So facebook.com/groups/amazon.groceries.
Yeah, that would be the best place to do it.
Awesome. So we'll start a thread over there right after the webinar's done, and we'll do our best to answer any question that you have in that group. How's that?
Great. And any more questions on anything we talked about, you can go to.
It looks like Eddie. Eddie has on your email template, you mentioned directly that you're an Amazon seller. Shawn's take is not to do it. Different perspective. I use that as a kind of a vetting process. I want to vet out the people who are the suppliers right out of the gate who don't want to deal with any Amazon sellers. So, and it works for me, and it might not work for you. Shawn's got a different take. Just figure out what works best for you. Test both of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't lie. I've never lied to them. If somebody asks me, I'm going to tell them. But most of them don't care. But again, I think if you're going to just, be throwing that out there to begin with, you're going to knock out a lot of, your prospective businesses to deal with. So, we just choose not to do that, and it's never been a problem for us.
There you go. Do what works for you. Try it. Any other questions?
And those who need a referral to a VA, when we send out the replay to everybody, to the viewers and non-viewers, you'll get all the information if you're looking for a VA.
And I think
that's only one. The wholesale guide and just scroll down to the bottom and download that wholesale guide, and that'll, if you haven't already, that'll get you started. Right below that, you'll see some links to some of the directories that I have up right. Actually, those are all the directories that are live right now. Some are sold out already. So go ahead and grab a directory of wholesale suppliers to get started. And if you have any questions, place them in the Facebook group, and we will do our best to answer them.
And check back to that site. When Barbara adds any more wholesale directories, we'll be sure to add them to that page, and we'll have a replay of this video on that page and a lot more stuff as we get it.
Yeah, and if you guys aren't signed up for Shawn's email list yet, go ahead and sign up, because every time he puts out a new video training or there's something new that he wants to announce to you guys, go to his website, shawnmayo.com, and sign up for his email list, and then you'll get notice when something new comes out, whether it's a directory or one of his trainings.
Well, if they're watching the video, they're signed up. So.
All right, there was a question from Eddie as well that was pretty pertinent to what we're discussing before we just kind of go off.
Okay.
But it was regarding vendor agreements, and if that's something that is, pretty crucial. Do you set one up, or how do you handle it?
You want to take that, Shawn?
I don't see I see the message about the template, but I don't see anything about a vendor agreement.
Do you have a vendor agreement you send to your suppliers with the terms, quote unquote terms, or conditions that you define for doing business with you?
No.
No, I don't. No, everything's an email exchange. I'll have conversations with, on the phone with them as well, but then I follow up with an email saying, here's what we talked about. So, no, I don't.
Okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Any more questions, just send me a PM and, or post in that Facebook link we gave you. Thanks a lot.